What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Doctor Who classic review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 7th Doctor Sylvester McCoy story, Delta and the Bannermen. This is the final Sylvester McCoy story I have to review. I've reviewed every other story. If you're watching this in order of, when the actual stories came out, then you're probably a bit confused, but I do these in random orders. And this is the final 7th Doctor story I have to review, so very excited about that. Also very excited because next month in November, I'm going to a convention sort of thing to actually see Sylvester McCoy. Janet Fielding is also there, who plays Tegan. I'm actually going to see him, get an autograph, so that's going to be awesome, and it's going to be great, knowing that I've now watched all of his stories. So, yeah, let's get started looking at the back of the DVD. This is Delta and the Bannermen by Malcolm Cole. The time, 1959. The place, the Shangri-La Holiday Camp, South Wales. The Doctor and Mel want time out. The hedonistic alien Navarinos want to catch some vintage rock and roll, and two CIA agents want to know what happened to their country's missing satellite. When the beautiful Cimarron Princess Delta shows up on the scene, the murderous Bannermen soon follow in hot pursuit. The stage is set for a fiery showdown that will decide the fate of an entire civilization. So that is the back of the DVD. Yeah, not the most amazing, crazy plot out there. It's basically just two races, two factions having a bit of a war with each other on Earth. And yeah, the Doctor, Mel, and this whole group of other alien kind of travelers kind of get caught up in the middle of it. So an interesting premise. This is a pretty wacky story. I had heard that before I'd watched it here. So yeah, let's get started with the cast. Sylvester McCoy as the 7th Doctor. Yeah, he is pretty decent in this one. There's no real standout moments from what I can think of. No big, awesome speeches or particularly funny moments or just good moments by him. He's just fine throughout the whole story. There's quite a lot of characters in this one, and to be fair, the Doctor and Mel don't have the biggest focus in this story. They're not massively focused on. So but yeah, his performance is perfectly fine. Bonnie Langford as Mel Bush. Yeah, she's also just fine in this one. Not too much screaming, thankfully. Of course, Mel known for her constant screaming. In this one, there are definitely a couple of moments. One I remember at the end of episode 1, and I think there's one somewhere else in there as well. But on the most part, not a whole lot of screaming going on. And she has a few nice little moments with Delta mainly, and that's about it really. Not a whole lot to say. Right, so let's get on to some points about this story. The Doctor and Mel win a trip to 1959. So it starts off with the Doctor and Mel landing on, I don't know, is it a planet? I don't even know where they are, and they find this guy who's like he's like a tour guide sort of guy that, I don't know, he's given out tickets, and he's given Mel and the Doctor free tickets on this trip to 1959 Disneyland. And yeah, it's an interesting way of starting the story. I mean, the story actually starts with a little bit of a battle between Delta and the Bannermen, and then you get to this thing with the Doctor and Mel. But it's interesting that they win. They don't just land here. They win a trip here, and that's how they get all caught up in it. So it's something a bit different. They land in Wales instead of Disneyland. So yes, they are supposed to be going to Disneyland. I don't know which Disneyland. I don't know how many Disneylands are actually around at this time. I mean, the first one that comes to my head is like Disneyland Paris, but I don't think that is a more modern Disneyland. So probably wasn't there. It might have been one of the American ones, I would assume. I don't really know. But they end up in Wales instead anyway. And yeah, after the bus, because they're supposed to be going in like this time traveling bus thing, which is pretty funny, pretty kooky. And that, yeah, they take off and things go wrong, and it ends up landing in Wales. The Doctor just takes the TARDIS, and yeah, the thing Delta was given by the Cimarron soldier hatched into a Cimarron baby. So she gets given this thing. She's with this kind of green soldier, which the Cimarron, I'm pretty sure those are the Cimarron, aren't they? The green guys. They look like, especially when you first see them at the very start. I've just recently been watching Toy Story with my partner. We've been going through all the Toy Stories. They look just like the green, plastic military men from Toy Story. I don't know if that was on purpose or if that's just what happened. But yeah, they look just like those like military men. And yeah, she gets given this thing, and it kind of like hatches and turns into a baby, and it's a horrible green, horrible, just yucky baby. But that baby then starts growing very quickly, and yeah, basically these Shimmeron, they age super quickly. So it goes from this horrible green just mess of a blob thing of a baby to a more of a normal looking baby. It's just quite green, and then it turns into like a little girl, and then slowly quickly gets older and also less green. Gavrok destroyed the bus with everyone on board. So Gavrok is the main Bannerman. He is the main guy, the main villain of this story. And yeah, the bus, the people, the aliens from the bus go to get back on the bus to get out of there, because the Doctor fixes the bus, and they're about to get out of there, leave, and Gavrok just blows the bus up and I guess kills everybody on board. Pretty brutal to just kill that whole bus of people. Thankfully Mel and the Doctor weren't on there, but plenty of people die. The main guy, I can't remember what his name was, but kind of the tour guide that was quite jolly and silly, he was on there and he dies, so that was quite sad. But yeah, pretty brutal. The Bannermen just help the Doctor untie Mel and Burton. So Burton is, because when they land in Wales, they kind of land at this like holiday camp sort of place, and kind of holiday retreat place, and Burton is the guy in charge. He's like the boss. He's the one in charge of the holiday camp. And yeah, basically the Bannermen, they end up tying up Mel and Burton. The Doctor then comes down to, try and rescue him. And yeah, he basically spits a whole lot of guff at Gavrok and the Bannermen, and goes and he's like, I'm going to take, I don't want to, because he comes down with like a white flag, and he's like, I don't want to fight you. We just want you to leave and just leave everybody alone, and we can all be good. And he's like, no. The Doctor's like, right, well, I'm leaving with my friends then. I'm getting these people. And he goes down there like tied up to a post, and the Bannerman soldiers just help the Doctor untie them. Like, Gavrok has not said, yes, you can untie them and you can go. Definitely not the case. But his Bannermen just help untie, and then the Doctor's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. He's like, well, they've just helped you untie them, so what's that about? Gavrok booby-trapped the TARDIS. That was a nice little scene, I guess, where he sticks a little thing on top of the TARDIS, and there's like a force field around it that if you touch, it'll like blow up. And I like it when the Doctor's, tracing around it with a stick to figure out where it is, where the thing is, and every now and again he just taps it and there's just like a bit of a spark. So that was cool, to keep them away from the TARDIS for that amount of time. It didn't last a whole lot of time, but it was a cool little thing. The music starting and stopping all the time is jarring. So here's something that I'm a bit unsure about with this episode. The music is, well, first of all, is it very 80s, or it's very 50s, I guess. My partner was saying, we've actually just recently went and watched Grease the musical, like the actual musical in person. She was like, the music sounds a lot like some of the stuff from Grease. Well, yeah, it is 1950s. It's the same sort of time period. And yeah, there's a lot of music that fits that time period, which I like. However, the music that you hear is in very small bursts, and it kind of just starts. It's quite loud, and then just abruptly stops, and then another piece will start, or the same piece will start again, and you hear the same pieces over and over, and it gets a bit repetitive. So yeah, although I quite like the different sound in the music, it is quite jarring and it is a bit annoying. Gavrok fell back into the force field bomb while the girl screamed. So the girl that hatched from that Shimmeron thing, she has this sort of power, I guess it's just what they all have, where she opens her mouth and she does this horrible kind of screamy, singy sort of thing. I mean, yeah, sometimes it sounds good, sometimes it does not. It's just really, really high pitch and really loud, and basically it hurts everybody's ears. And Gavrok is around the TARDIS, and he's covering his ears, trying to get the sound out of his head, and he falls back into the force field of the TARDIS and basically blows up, evaporates. He is no more. And that actually trips out the bomb as well for the TARDIS, which is quite convenient, I will say. Don't know what they were going to do if that didn't happen, but that's a pretty brutal end to him. My final part of this, my final point is, what was the point of the American guys finding the satellite? Now, I don't know if I just missed something, but these two American guys, they didn't really join in with the story until pretty much right at the end. They were just kind of there, and they were trying to find some satellite or something, and right at the end, they find the satellite. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what the point of it was. Unless I've missed something, it wasn't explained. These characters were just there, and it was just kind of very jarringly cutting up the episode. It's almost like they didn't have enough, because it's only a 3-part of this one. They still didn't have enough plot to cover all 3 parts, so they just put this in there, but it doesn't really make any sense. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but to me, it was just very jarring. So that is Delta and the Bannermen. What is my rating out of 10? I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. It wasn't amazing. It's only 3 parts, so it's just over an hour long, so you can watch it relatively easily. It's not like a big slog, 6-parter to get through or something. It's only 3 parts. It's not too bad. That boosts it up a little bit. It is quite, I say fun. There is quite a lot of dark stuff going on, but the feel of it, with the music and everything, as annoying as it is quite a fun and fairly well-paced story in some aspects, apart from having those random cut-ins with the American guys. There's something going on. It feels like it's going through. And it's relatively enjoyable if you just turn your brain off, don't really think about it. It's probably quite enjoyable to just watch. But when you think about the plot and what's going on, there isn't a whole lot of plot other than the Bannermen want to, I don't know, kill Delta or like imprison or kidnap her or whatever. And the Doctor and Mel don't have a whole lot to do. There's a lot of characters. Most of them end up just getting killed off all in one big hit. And yeah, there's not a whole lot going on here, to be completely honest. It's definitely not the worst Doctor Who story of all time, because it is at least bearable and it's not too long to watch. But when you watch it analytically like I am here for these reviews, you see a lot of holes and it's not the best. It's very silly, probably the silliest Doctor Who story, at least of this time, of this season. And yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, so a 4 out of 10. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.